How's it going, everyone? Austin Honecker here. I just wanted to come on here for a while and give them a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite from 3 nights ago, which was November 16th, 2022. I gotta say, it was awesome from start to finish. For the matches, match 1, it was the Blackpool Combat Club, which are Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli, versus the Jericho Appreciation Society, which are Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Blackpool Combat Club went over because Claudio Castagnoli made Chris Jericho tap out to the sharpshooter. Match 2, it was Swerve Strickland versus Anthony Bowens. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Swerve Strickland went over with the JML driver. Now, before the match, the Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Billy Gunn, and the Acclaimed, well, before the match, the Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, along with Billy Gunn, came out, and Max Caster done a rap, and Anthony Bowens said his signature line, "Bridgeport, the Acclaimed have arrived," and everything, and then Anthony Bowens done his signature line to Billy Gunn, "Scissor me daddy ass." So the Acclaimed, which are the Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, along with Billy Gunn, done the scissor me gesture. And then Anthony Bowens signaled for the Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, music video, hand for a hand music video, and the music video consisted of Max Caster and Anthony Bowens interviewing Captain Insano. Well, Captain Insano was talking about how the Ass Boys, which are the Guns, which are Colton and Austin Gunn, turned their backs on him and everything, and then the impersonators of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland called Captain Insano to seek advice on how to beat the Acclaimed, and so Captain Insano and the Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, all laughed about it, and then the music video continued on with the Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, and along with Billy Gunn doing the scissor me gesture and everything. And then after the music video, Swerve Strickland came out, and Billy Gunn attacked Swerve Strickland and beat the shit out of him, but all the referees came out to get Billy Gunn off of Swerve Strickland, and Billy Gunn and Max Caster both had to go backstage and everything. That was cool. That was before the match, by the way. That was match 2, by the way. Match 3, it was the Death Triangle, which are Pac, Rey Fenix, and Pena El Cerro Miedo, versus AR Fox and Top Flight, which are Dante and Darius Martin, for the AEW Trios titles. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Death Triangle went over and retained the AEW Trios titles because Pac pinned AR Fox with the Black Arrow. Now, after the match, the Death Triangle, which are Pac, Rey Fenix, and Pena El Cerro Miedo, along with Alex Abrahantes, cut a promo, and Pac was talking about how the Death Triangle weren't dumb and how they know everything and how they've been hearing rumors, and talked about certain individuals coming after them for the Trios titles and everything. And then on the Titantron, the clock went to ticking, and it showed a graphic of the Death Triangle putting the AEW Trios titles on the line. Then the Elite, which are Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, appeared on there, and it turned out to be the Death Triangle versus the Elite at AEW Full Gear for the AEW Trios titles. And then Pac was sitting there talking shit about the Elite and everything, and then Pena Cerro Miedo said, because we are the Death Triangle and we have zero fear and everything. That was cool. That was after the match, by the way. Match 4, it was Ethan Page versus Bandido in an AEW title eliminator match. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Ethan Page went over and advanced in the AEW title eliminator tournament with the Ego's Edge. Now, before the match, the Firm, which are Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway, came out, and Ethan Page cut a promo talking about how the crowd of Bridgeport, Connecticut sucked. Talked about how they were giving him a lame response and everything, and Ethan Page was talking about how he was going to beat the shit out of Bandido and win the AEW title eliminator tournament, and talked about how he didn't care if it was John Moxley or MJF to be AEW champ. He was going to come after him and win the AEW title and everything. That was cool. That was before the match, by the way. But Bandido came out after the Firm, which are Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway, before the match started and everything as well. That was cool as well. And match 5, which was the main event, it was Toni Storm versus Anna Jay in an AEW Interim Women's Title Eliminator match. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Toni Storm went over with the Texas Cloverleaf. Now, after the match, Team DMD, which are Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter, came out, and Jamie Hayter got into the ring, and Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter had a stare down, and Jamie Hayter ended up leaving the ring, and along with Britt Baker and Rebel, and Toni Storm was looking on and everything. That was cool. That was after the match, by the way, and that was match 5 in the main event, by the way. Now, besides the matches, AEW aired a vignette of the build-up of the match between Jon Moxley versus MJF for the AEW title at Full Gear. That was cool. AEW aired a vignette of Darby Allin being in a body bag, and Sting picked up Darby Allin's body bag and put him in his car, and as soon as Sting started the car and was going down the road, Darby Allin got out of the body bag and got in the front seat with Sting, and then Sting said, at Full Gear Saturday, it's showtime and everything. That was cool. Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh cut a promo, and Jay Lethal was talking shit about Sting and Darby Allin, but Sanjay Dutt was talking about how Sting and Darby Allin were driving down the highway and told them to show up at Full Gear and everything, and then Jeff Jarrett came along, and Jeff Jarrett said, Sanjay, I got this. And then Jeff Jarrett was talking about how him and Sting faced off 24 years ago, and talked about how how Sting always said that it was showtime and everything, and Jeff Jarrett was talking about how Saturday it was going to be showtime and to bring it on and everything. That was cool. Yeah. AEW aired a vignette of the build-up of the match between Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose for the TBS Women's title at Full Gear. That was cool. Tony Schiavone interviewed Samoa Joe. Well, Tony Schiavone brought up about Samoa Joe attacking Wardlow last week and talked about how it was a shocker and everything. And then Samoa Joe was saying, Tony Schiavone, it's an honor to be in the ring with you. Better than my last boss. Hopefully it'll be better between us. But as far as Wardlow goes, it wasn't a shocker. Because Wardlow was running his mouth week in and week out about how he was going to take every title in this company. So I taught him a lesson that I am the most dangerous man in this company. And everything. And then Powerhouse Hobbs came out, and Powerhouse Hobbs was talking about how he's kicked Wardlow's ass week in and week out, and talked about and was talking about how he was going to kick Samoa Joe's ass and everything, and Samoa Joe was telling Powerhouse Hobbs to bring it on and everything, so Powerhouse Hobbs was getting ready to go down to fight Samoa Joe, but Wardlow came out through the crowd and attacked Samoa Joe, and so a brawl between Wardlow and Samoa Joe came about, and Powerhouse Hobbs came into the ring and to beat the shit out of Wardlow, and so a brawl between Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and Powerhouse Hobbs occurred, and everything, and half of the AEW roster and the security had to come out and break it up and everything. That was cool. Britt Baker cut a promo talking about how she respected Saraya and how she's happy that she beat her addiction and everything, and talked about how she healed from her neck surgery and her neck injury and everything. And Britt Baker talked about how she's been the face of the women's division of AEW for 3 years, and talked about how at Full Gear she was going to beat the shit out of Saraya and everything. That was cool. That was Britt Baker that cut that promo, by the way. Ricky Starks cut a promo talking about how Lance Archer likes to attack people, but Ricky Starks does too and everything. And Ricky Starks was talking about how on Friday night on AEW Rampage, he was going to beat the shit out of Lance Archer, and he was going to advance in the AEW title eliminator tournament and everything. That was cool. Let me see. Yeah. AEW aired a vignette of the build-up of the match between Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus in a steel cage match at Full Gear. That was cool. Renee Paquette interviewed Saraya, and Renee Paquette was bringing up to Saraya about her match with Britt Baker at Full Gear and everything, and Saraya was talking about how she respected Britt Baker and how she was a hell of a competitor and everything, and talked about how she came to AEW to beat the best and how Britt Baker was the best and everything, but Saraya was talking about how she was tired of all the talking, that she wanted to fight. She wanted to fight, and she's going to fight. They're going to fight at Full Gear and everything, because and Saraya was talking about how AEW was her house and everything as well. That was cool. AEW aired a vignette of the build-up of the match between Eddie Kingston and Ortiz versus Konosuke Takeshita and Jun Akiyama on AEW Rampage Friday night. That was cool. And the Blackpool Combat Club, which are William Regal and John Moxley, came out, and John Moxley cut a promo talking about how he likes to talk shit and how he's sick in the head and how he likes to fight and everything, and talked about how MJF was a piece of shit and everything, and John Moxley continued to talk more shit about MJF and everything, and John Moxley called MJF out, but Stokely Hathaway appeared and distracted John Moxley, and so Lee Moriarty came in and tried to attack John Moxley, but John Moxley threw Lee Moriarty out of the ring, and the rest of the firm, which are Ethan Page, Colton Gunn, Austin Gunn, and W. Morrissey, came along, and W. Morrissey attacked John Moxley and was beating the shit out of him, and William Regal went to attack the firm, but William Regal went to attack Ethan Page, but Ethan Page backed William Regal into the rope, and Ethan Page, Colton Gunn, and Austin Gunn ganged up on William Regal, beating the shit out of him, while W. Morrissey and Lee Moriarty ganged up on John Moxley, beating the shit out of him. So as that was going on, MJF came out and attacked all the members of the firm, which are Colton Gunn, Austin Gunn, Lee Moriarty, W. Morrissey, and Ethan Page, and beat the shit out of all of them. And after that, after MJF beat the shit out of the firm, MJF got on the microphone and was talking about how he didn't save John Moxley's ass because he likes him. No, he saved John Moxley's ass so the IWC marks don't bitch about him not being able to get nothing done on his own and everything. And MJF talked about how he needed the AEW title more than food, water, and oxygen and everything. And MJF was talking about how he was going to beat John Moxley's ass at Full Gear and how he was going to win the AEW title and everything. And as MJF continued to talk more shit, well, MJF was talking about how he was the devil and everything, and MJF was getting ready to talk more shit, but John Moxley took the microphone from MJF, and John Moxley was talking shit towards MJF and everything, and John Moxley was talking about how the training wheels were going to come off from MJF and everything as well. So John Moxley and William Regal ended up leaving while MJF was looking on and everything. That was cool. Now, besides all that, Tony Schiavone, Taz, and Excalibur done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. Ian Riccaboni done guest commentary along with Tony Schiavone, Taz, and Excalibur during the match between the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. Ian Riccaboni done great on guest commentary. The referees for the event were Rick Knox, Paul Turner, Bryce Remsburg, Stephon Smith, and Aubrey Edwards. Okay. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. Stephon Smith refereed the match between Swerve Strickland versus Anthony Bowens. Rick Knox refereed the match between the Death Triangle versus AR Fox and Top Flight. Bryce Remsburg for the AEW Trios titles. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Ethan Page versus Bandido in an AEW title eliminator match. And yeah, that's Bryce Remsburg, by the way. And Paul Turner refereed the match between Toni Storm versus Anna Jay in an AEW interim women's title eliminator match. All the referees done awesome as usual. Now, the match card that's been announced for All Elite Wrestling's pay-per-view event Full Gear for tonight, it's going to be Jon Moxley versus MJF for the AEW title. The Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, versus Swerve and Our Glory, which are Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland for the AEW Tag Team titles. Wardlow versus Samoa Joe versus Powerhouse Hobbs in a three-way match for the AEW TNT title. The Death Triangle, which are Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta El Zero Miedo versus the Elite, which are Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson for the AEW Trios titles. Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter for the interim AEW Women's title. Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose for the TBS Women's title. Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Sammy Guevara in a four-way match for the Ring of Honor World title. Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Saraya versus Britt Baker. Those are the matches that have been announced so far. So the match card for All Elite Wrestling's AEW So the match card for All Elite Wrestling's pay-per-view event Full Gear for tonight that's been announced so far, looks like it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see it, and I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here for a while and give them a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite from 3 nights ago, which was November 16th, 2022. I gotta say, it was awesome from start to finish. And with that being said, my name is Austin Honecker, and I will catch your ass down the road. Peace out.